Hello students, nice to come your way again with another tutorial. So I hope you are enjoying your holiday. Yes, I decided to do a quick lab program for you to have something to work on when you get back to class on Monday. So what are we going to do? So I'm going to run this once for all, okay? And maybe what I should do is I should try to stop this activity first and fire it up once again. What you are seeing on your screen is a counter application that on the click of a button, it starts counting from 0 upwards. So when I click on stop, it should stop, and there's a time delay of 1 second in between. Again, if I repeat from start, it should get back to 0 and start incrementing. And this is going to be an infinite loop because it can count from now to eternity without having an end to the counting application. So what we're going to do is we will start building this right away, guys. I hope you're all geared up as I am. Let's do this, guys. So let's go and see what the fifth lab program is all about. So for that, I'm going to do two things here. All right, I'll minimize this and then I'll open this up. Okay, this says you are supposed to write a program to create an activity with two buttons. All right, so the activity should have two buttons, namely start and start button. So on pressing of the start button, the activity must start the counter by displaying the numbers from 1. And the counter must keep on counting until you press the start button. So display the counter value in the text view control. So if you analyze this together with me, you're going to see you have first thing here. What is it that you have? You have what? Your text view. Agreed? So you have another text view. So two text views are present here. You have a button which says it is button start, and you have another button maybe which says it's button stop. Alright? So this application is as simple as any other application you can think of. So without further ado, let's start building this app together. So let's start first thing with the UI. Alright? So I'm going to stop this for now, and I will deem it fit to show you one more thing here before we proceed. So if you see in most cases, okay, one of some of those mistakes that you make, and we are going to make it together and try to fix it, is at times you have an open application that is running. Okay, I mean an Android app that is running. So in that case, when you call this up, it might call up the previous application. Ensure you have only one Android app open at a time. And another thing that I want you to note, in case if you are joining us for the first time or if you are viewing my channel for the first time, you should be able to know that they are under this device manager tab. You can actually wipe this data. So why do we need to wipe it? So you see this is taking lots of space, and I have shown you in the previous video actually that you need to do this, okay, right? But before I wipe the data, so I need to shut down the emulator. So let's try wiping here. It says the AVD is currently running in the emulator. I have to exit it and then only I'll be able to do that. Alright, so why do I need to do this? I have shown you practically in most cases that this is actually eating up my memory space. So what I will do is I will try as much as possible to keep it to the barest minimum, right? And another thing I have actually shown you guys in class is the possibility for you to run it on your mobile device, okay? So it's very simple, guys. Identify, get back to which Android app, whatever you're using. Just Google it, guys. If you're not able to follow, please head to the description and just tell me. I'll be more than happy to address that. So having said that, I'm going to close this now. I'll head back to this place. I click on wipe data. Now it permits me to wipe it. So from 9.5 GB it's come to what? 1.4 GB. So let's go and build this together, guys. Are you ready? Let's do this. Alright. So there we are, and I'm going to do the same thing which we have done before. So feel free to fast forward to the main activity, okay, or explain it to the Java code if you're not interested in the UI. So for this, I'm going to call it lab 5. Okay, so I use lab 05, and you have already known this. Now I have decided to start from Android 6.0, which is Marshmallow, that supports around 96% of the devices. Click on finish and you are done. So to avoid confusion, I'm going to close the previous activity. Alright, and we know how the UI is going to look like. So let's take a closer look at the UI once again. We have something that says it's a counter application with counter value and start and stop button, right? So this is what we're going to do, guys. All right. So let's start with the UI. So this is done, and I'm gonna start with building the UI now. So what I will do is I'm gonna get to my activity underscore whatever.xml. Now I will drag it this way. So this is what I have. I prefer to split it. Fine. I go to the split mode. And here I might need to delete this, otherwise I will use it. But what I need is I need to show my system UI. So I'm getting this nice and cool interface. Alright. So I might want to use my relative layout as we have already studied. So I'm going to use this now, relative layout. And here what I need to do is I need to say this is a counter application. So I'll just type that counter application, okay, application. Now as you see there, okay, it's actually here, so I can feel free to drag and keep it anywhere I want. Now try to resize this a little bit, maybe resize it some more. I want it to fit on the screen, and I need to use my stuff here, so I'll change it to text all caps. Okay, maybe alignment I keep at center. Now I'll say text size, I'll maybe change it to 34. Okay, and I'm going to use SP. Now I'll say text all caps, I'll set it to true, right? So I'll set it to true. That turns back to capital letter. Now you see it has actually overshot the space. Maybe what in works best for me was 32. All right. So and I want it to be bold also. So I'll go and say what text style. I want this guy to be bold. Now feel free to work with the color. Okay, maybe I want to use this color now. I say text color. I want it to be black. Fine. Now in this case, maybe 32 has become so big I keep it at 30. And yeah. So I'm done with this one. So what you can do actually, guys, you can drag and drop. Okay, you can copy and paste this, or just click here, just drag and drop, control click, okay, or press control C, control V, then drag and drop. But I want you to pay attention to how this text view, which is there by default, is going to look like from another text view. So I'll drag and drop another text view. So this text view should only hold what? What should it hold? It should hold the counter value, right? So I will just feel free to resize something there. All right. So maybe I can decide to make it a little bigger now because I want the value, to be like that big. Okay. So here, I don't want anything. Maybe I want to just say initially I want the counter value. It's actually called count value. Okay. So I want the count value to be something, and I want to increase the font size. So I'll say text, maybe color now, I want it in red. And if you see, there is nothing there called red because I didn't declare it in my colors.xml. So I'm going to use the hexadecimal value since I know it offhand. Now I'm going to do one thing now. I'm going to beautify this a little bit. So I increase the text style. I work on the text style, make it bold. And I increase the text size as well. The text size, I'm going to say maybe it is, this time around I want it to be bigger. So I say it is maybe like 45. Okay. Okay, DP. Fine. Maybe I need to centralize this also. I work on text alignment, and alignment I keep it as center. All right. Now maybe I don't want this to read as text. I want it to be as hint, and you know why we are doing that. Okay. So I got this now. So with this, you see the text color will now disappear. Okay. So whatever I've added here, I need to now choose what now? Hint color, right? Okay, cool. So instead of text color, I'm going to change it to what? Hint, H-I-N-T. So I use N, pardon me for that. So you see the hint text color, I want it now as red. Okay. So I turn this on, then turn the rest off. Fine. Okay. So so this is fine now. That is how you can actually work on that. So next I'm going to use what now? I'm going to grab two buttons. Okay. And the two buttons I'll be grabbing, I'll just go there, drag and drop them. So this is the first button. So this button should read what start. And by default, you see the buttons are always what center aligned. Okay, and it's in what caps lock. Okay, it's in uppercase. So this is it, and I just want this to read start. So I'll just go there and I change it to what start. So maybe what interests me here is just to work on what the text size. So I'll just go there and say text size. You can see it there on your screen. Maybe I try playing with 33 deep SP here. Okay. Yeah. All right. So this is fine. I will do next. What I will do next, I will just Control C, Control V, just drag and drop there. Okay. So if you come here now, you're going to see this first button and you're going to see another button. So this has appeared as button 2. Now I will come and fix the IDs in a while. So I have start, and then this one I have to call it what? Stop. Okay. So both of them are there. Fine. Maybe I just want to make this little bigger. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so I'll make this little bigger, something like this. Okay, fine. Stop, and that is that. It doesn't matter. Okay, so now I need the IDs, as you know, right? So I always have this naming nomenclature. I call it BTN stop, STOP. This can be the case. Then this I'm going to call BTN start. Okay, BTN start. All right. Then and this one text view, I need it. Okay, so I want to display the count value here. So I'll call it txt count. Okay, or tst counter. Okay, something like that. That is the text counter. Okay, fine. Now if you look at this, I always encourage you to just run the program and see how it is on the screen. Okay, so let's run this. We fire up our emulator. Maybe I'll leave the code mode there, and there we go. You should be able to see this. All right. Okay, so let's wait for it to load. All right, so this is what we have. All right, so when we click on start, nothing happens. When we click on stop, nothing happens. But what is the intention here? The intention is on the click of this, okay, it should start counting. So when we click on this, it should stop counting. So there are two ways we can actually implement this. One, we can use the event listener. Another one, we can use the onClick method. So what we have conversant with is the onClick method. So that's why I'm going to go back here and then use my what onClick method. So what I will do here is, I hope you're able to see. So I'm done with the design view, so I can literally forget about that now. And what I will do here is, I just need my button here. So on the start of this button, I'm going to call an onClick event. So this event, I can just say start counter. Okay, start counting or start counting. All right. So now when you click on stop, I'm going to say onClick, call an onClick event. I'll say stop counting. Okay. So as you already know, definitely there is no inbuilt method called stop counting and start counting. We have to implement them in our main activity.java. So you click on that, create this in main activity.java, fine. Similarly, go back and do the same thing here. Start counting, stop counting. Click on that, do this. All right. So on these nodes, we have actually created the onClick methods and stuff now. So what I'm going to do now, we need to map most of what the IDs, right? So first thing, let me just pull this ID. Okay. So what I need to do, if you remember vividly, I need to use what now? Find view by ID. Okay. And then I'm going to retrieve the counter label, okay, which is a text view. So, but before I do that, I need to tell it what type of a view it is. Okay, so is it an edit text? Is it a text view? Is it a button or something like that? Right. And on this note, I want to tell you about some of the stuff here. Okay, so if you want to know what say app activity is, just hover over it. Okay, and you will see here. Okay, now this is a super class, right? Which is the base class for all the activities that you wish to use whatever and do some stuff. Okay, so we know it's a super class, fine. Now hover over main activity. Now in most cases, see, if it doesn't, nothing appears. Watch here guys, if you hover over this guy, something appears. You hover over main activity, it's taking time. Let's hover over onClick method. So what I mean by hover is put your mouse over it. Now if nothing appears here, what you can do is you just press Ctrl Q. Okay, now you see this is actually user defined, right? So whenever we create a class, an activity, go back here guys. So you see this activity, right? It's called main activity. Can I rename it? Yes. We have not actually done that, but you know how to add new activities. So if you want to rename this, you can actually do that here. You go to refactor and you rename. So this is fine. Now, if you go back to your onCreate method, so what does this actually contain? If I hover over it, nothing seems to appear. Just press Ctrl and Q key. Now you see, okay, it's going to tell you that this description is copied from the class Android the fragment activity, right? Okay, so it is what? See here, okay, it's of class bundle, which is present in Android.os package. All right, so now what you know now is you now need to now tell me what type of what variables am I expecting? So for that I need a text view. So as I type text view, you see there it's imported. Okay, so maybe I want to call it a text view. I call it of type txt. Okay, txt I want to use now to differentiate that from what I have. Txt view, fine. And next again, maybe I will since I need this to start incrementing, right? So I will need a counter variable of type what? Int. So I will say call it int. I'll call it maybe count. Now I will set that to what? 0. All right, cool. Now this is done. Under this, inside my onCreate method, now I need to retrieve what now? The ID that will hold the word count variable. So what is the name of that ID? The ID is called something I don't know, so I say find. Okay, you want to type that, you see the find view by ID. Now what is that ID? It's under r dot what? ID dot we called it what? Text counter. Fine. All right. So since you have found this ID, you need to save this ID in the variable of type what? Text view, right? So I will set it here. I say text view. All right. So I actually called it txt. Please pay attention, guys. So text view. Now, why is this necessary? Because we need to study about another class which is called the handler class. And in this handler class, we are going to use what we call the post-delayed method. Now, the discussion happened in the class, so I don't want to bore you down with unnecessary tutorials. But in case if you are actually new to the channel and you want to know what we are going to do next, so you can actually get back to Stack Overflow and see this, or you head over to this discussion thread. So you see here, okay, how do I actually use this post-delayed method in Android Studio? Or you see here, all right, okay, handler dot, I think I want to point you to, yeah, okay, so post delayed. So recently a wrong usage of and just like that. So we need this actually to implement a runnable interface. Okay, so that is the essence of this. And you see here, most of the time, if you go to the official documentation, you will see something here. Okay, it is a class called, it's the runnable, sorry, the post delayed method is under the class called handler, which you have to obviously create an object of that class before you be able to use that. Okay, now it allows you to send and process messages to the runnable objects which are associated with the threads message queue. So this will help us to kind of iterate through what? The program, okay, from 1 to infinity and like that. All right, okay, so since we know about this now, then that means we need what? To use the handler in this case. So maybe what I will do now is I say, okay, handler, right? I need this handler class, so I call it my handler. Now, as you type this now, you see you have to press Alt Enter, okay, to import the class. Fine. All right. So it says import that class, and you see here it has imported the class handler. So usually it will tell you handler is the class, and if you just press space, you see small handler appearing, right? See there. But you can give it a name, maybe you call it my handler. Fine. Now I need to create the object of this now. So I will say equal what? New what? Handler. Okay. Now this is done. Then I need to now do very simple thing. Okay. So when I want to start counting, I need to implement what method? When I said I need to tell you how to count, right? Simply I created the method. I need to implement this now. Okay. So that means that for me to start counting now, I need to use my count variable, right? Okay. Now, and I will tell you why we are doing this. So if I say count variable here, and I'll set it to 0, okay, I will leave this for now and we'll get back to this later. Okay, so now the reason we are doing this is we want to, each time, sorry, that is in the wrong one, so I needed to keep it here. Okay, the count. So that's why, if you see, most of the time I try to implement one method at a time to avoid this confusion. So what I want you to do is in this now, I want to use this, to reset the count variable, the count value back to 0. Now, what do we do now? Okay, so I'm going to use my handler, right? The object of my class. Okay, so and call this post delayed method on, right? So when I call this post delay method, so I need to create I need to create a class. So it says here the runnable class, right? So count thread, C-O-U-N-T, count thread, okay? Now, if I say it's count thread, now I'm going to give it the delay, right? So the delay is how long I want it to wait before it starts counting. Say if it counts 1, okay? I mean the successive intervals after each count. Count 1, count 2, count 3. So initially I started from 2 seconds. And you know, nothing like 2 seconds here, okay? It is actually in milliseconds. So this will almost happen immediately. Now, if you want it to be a little fast, you can start in 1 second, or you can actually start in 0.5 seconds. So if you're going to start in 0.5 seconds, feel free to keep it at 500. All right, sorry. Okay, so in post delayed, I'm going to pass this into it. I say thread count, fine. And then the delay will be in milliseconds, fine. All right. Now, if I click on this, I should be able to create the class. Yes. So this has changed to create the class. Okay, this was what I was looking for. So now, two things you can do here, guys. When you click on create class, by default, it's going to create a class. See here, outside the main package. Outside the main class. So it's going to create another public class, but that's not what you wanted, right? You want only one public class, okay? And then you want another class that will be inside the public class, right? So which you can declare again public, or you can actually set it to be private, right? So in this case now, I'm going to delete this. Please pay attention, guys. I will go to refactor. I will say delete. Save delete. Now I have deleted that. Delete anyway. Now I'll get back here now, all right? Then go here and click on this guy, say create an inner class called thread count. All right, so you can actually see it here. So since it's going to be a runnable interface, so what I will do is I will say public what, not class now, I'll say public runnable, okay? So now it's going to import it, okay? So public runnable. Now this thread count, I will create object of that also, right? Says it to be equal to what, my new what, runnable or new thread class. So you see this, I've actually suggested it, okay? So, and with this, it's going to implement even the run method also. Now you watch, okay? So this you have to delete. Make sure you're deleting some empty extra spaces also. And here is pointing there. Just put semicolon there, guys. So if you watch now, there is no error anywhere, okay? Now, what are you going to do here now when it starts running, right? So I'm going to use that variable and set the text back to the word text view. So what is that variable called? It's called text txt view, right? Dot, now I'll say set text. Now what am I going to set? Initially there should be an empty string, right? So empty value, okay, nothing should be in that, right? Then I have to concatenate it with what? The count variable, right? So you see there, fine. So after this now I need to increment my counter. So I'll say count becomes what? Incremented count plus plus, and I put semicolon there. Now, this I have to call my what? Post delayed method, and which I'm using my handler object. I'll say now sort, and you see immediately you type dot, okay, just type dot, and you see it's giving you like the first suggestion to an extent is always the best one. So what is the name of that runnable interface? So it's called what? Thread count, fine. And again, I'm going to let it wait only for what? 5. What I mean here is 0.5 seconds, okay? So that's why I'm just using 500. Fine. All right, so put semicolon and you are done. So you see, this program is pretty simple, guys, okay? So what we do now is we just run it and that's it, and we are actually done, all right? So on this note, let me just run this and we get back to this, which we say revisit. So I'm going to run it now. All right, allow the Gradle script to build, and there you go, and there you go. And once I start count, obviously it should override this, right? So start. Now it starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see it's counting faster. Okay. So if you say stop, it stops. Okay. All right. So when I say stop, okay, it didn't stop. Okay. So as you notice here, I actually created the stop counting, okay? But I didn't do anything in that, okay? And that was done deliberately because you see, this also we encountered it during the lab session. So we were so excited, okay? We know, and look here, inside this method, we didn't do anything, right? Once the runnable came, we were so excited and we continued. So this was what happened. So it will count, excuse me, you click a button, it's not stopping, okay? And you know for sure why this is happening. So it's looking at you here, okay? It says, and again, now watch this behavior. You go back, click again, it's not happening, all right? So you know why it's happening like that. So you go back here because once it starts counting on the click of that button, so you actually should what? Destroy this. So it's like, you use the method called remove callbacks. So this is present in my handler. So I say handler dot. Now you see there, no more post delete now. I'm going to use what now? Remove what? Callback. So what is the name of that runnable interface? It's called what? Thread count. Fine. Okay. So this is fine now. I'm going to run it again and let's see. So I'll click on start, it start counting. I click on stop, it stops. You see that? Click on start, it gets destroys and gets back to 0. Okay, and then click on stop, it stops. Click on start again, it starts, and click on stop, it stops. All right. So we have actually made it to the last part of the tutorial. All right. Congratulations, you can actually implement a simple, start and stop watch application. So what you might think of is trying to work on the UI. Okay, maybe try to create a simple stopwatch, where if you click and try to make this, increment faster. So there is an assignment that accompanies this, and this is specifically for students from MIT and Mysore. So I have posted a link in the description below, and I want them to submit the assignment in just 20 minutes. So the video is going to be up, right? And in another hour, I'm going to disable it. So this will actually tell me whether the students are actually paying attention or they are just simply wasting my time. All right. So I'm repeating, this will be up only for 1 hour. After 1 hour, I'm going to disable the form. See you there, guys. And yeah, hope you are able to do that and complete it in the shortest possible time. Take care, and until I come your way next time, happy viewing and enjoy your weekend. Bye for now.